Some traditions fade with dignity. Others get dragged behind modern life and quietly dumped in a digital ditch. That's basically what's happening to a lot of classic American customs right now. From childhood rites of passage to traditions so bizarre they barely made sense even back then, these little pieces of everyday America are disappearing one by one. Remember when phone calls came with suspense? Airport fashion was a full performance, and winning a goldfish at a carnival felt like destiny? Those days are vanishing fast. So buckle up, because we're counting down 111 American traditions that are slowly going extinct. Number 1. Town gazebo concerts. Town gazebo concerts used to be America's way of saying, "We have no budget, but we do have trumpets." Families brought lawn chairs, kids ran wild, and somebody's uncle always clapped offbeat. Now entertainment arrives by algorithm, alone, on a couch. It's more efficient, sure. So is eating soup in a dentist chair. Number 2. Neighbors dropping by unannounced. There was a time when someone could knock on your door at 7:14 p.m. with no warning, no text, and no Google Calendar invitation, and somehow it wasn't considered a hostage situation. They came in, talked too long, borrowed sugar, and left with half your evening. It was inconvenient, nosy, and weirdly human. Now people treat unexpected doorbells like the opening scene of a true crime documentary. Number 3. Block parties. The block party used to be America's favorite excuse to drag lawn chairs into the street, burn hot dogs unevenly, and pretend neighbors actually liked each other. Kids ran feral, dads guarded coolers like national secrets, and somebody always brought a Bluetooth speaker with tragic confidence. Today, community has to be scheduled, permitted, and group chatted into existence. Nothing says fun like a spreadsheet. Number 4. Church potlucks. The church potluck was one of America's greatest social technologies. A folding table summit powered by casseroles, sheet cake, and one dish nobody trusted but everybody politely respected. It was awkward, fluorescent, and built entirely on recipe cards and low-level guilt. Modern life replaced that with food delivery and isolation, which is cleaner, sure, but spiritually much hungrier. Number 5. Small-town parades. A small-town parade used to be 40% tractors, 30% marching band, 20% candy thrown by underinsured teenagers, and 10% civic delusion. It was rarely impressive, often sunburned, and always a little too sincere, which is exactly why it worked. Now a lot of places still have parades, but fewer people treat them like a ritual, more like traffic with confetti. Number 6. Family-owned diners. The family diner used to be where a town stored its gossip, grief, and cholesterol. Coffee came fast, opinions came faster, and the waitress called everybody hun like she owned partial custody of the room. Now too many of those places are gone, replaced by chain restaurants where you scan a QR code and receive hospitality from laminated indifference. Number 7. Soda fountains. The soda fountain was America's way of pretending sugar counted as civic architecture. Teenagers flirted, old men argued, and somebody always ordered something involving phosphates, cherries, and dangerous optimism. It was ridiculous, sticky, and perfect. Now we have self-serve drink machines the size of refrigerators, and somehow far less joy per ounce. Number 8. Downtown department stores at Christmas. Christmas downtown used to feel like a town trying its best to perform magic on a modest budget. Window displays glowed, escalators hummed, and entire families got dressed up to buy socks and wonder. Now, holiday shopping mostly happens while sitting hunched over a screen, muttering at shipping estimates like a raccoon with a credit card. Number 9. Trick-or-treating without tactical supervision. Halloween used to involve children wandering the neighborhood in bad costumes with weak flashlights and absolutely no military-grade parental tracking. You knocked on doors, trusted strangers' candy standards, and came home with a pillowcase full of sugar and low-stakes danger. Now the whole thing feels like an HR-approved candy distribution event with allergy charts. Number 10. Riding bikes until the streetlights came on. That used to be the universal American curfew. No phone tracking, no location sharing, no structured youth enrichment nonsense. Just a bike, some bad decisions, and the understanding that when the streetlights came on, childhood was done for the day. Now freedom needs helmets, forms, and probably an app password. Number 11. Paper routes. The paper route was how America used to tell children, "Congratulations, you now have deadlines." It built work ethic, leg strength, and an early understanding that weather does not care about your little entrepreneurial spirit. Now newspapers barely survive, and the idea of a 12-year-old handling dawn logistics feels like something a suburban HOA would report. Number 12. Saturday morning cartoons. Saturday morning cartoons weren't just TV. They were a ritual. You woke up early, poured cereal with suspicious colors, and sat too close to the screen like a tiny worshiper at the altar of animation and toy marketing. Now, kids can watch anything anytime, which sounds better until you realize abundance killed ceremony dead. Number 13. County Fair Pie Contests. The pie contest was one of the last places in America where crust quality could ruin a family's emotional stability for 6 months. It was butter, ego, and local pride arranged on folding tables under bad lighting. Yes, it was silly. That was the point. It gave adults a reason to care deeply about fruit in public. Number 14. Church basement spaghetti dinners. Nothing says community like overcooked spaghetti served under fluorescent lights by volunteers who look like they've been emotionally preparing garlic bread since 1987. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't trendy. It was people showing up for each other with pasta, paper napkins, and very little personal space. America keeps losing places like that and acting surprised when everything feels thinner. Number 15. Clipping coupons from the Sunday paper. Coupon clipping used to be a sacred little suburban ritual of scissors, coffee, and economic pettiness. Moms sat there slicing 10 cents off canned beans like they were negotiating oil futures. Now savings come through apps that track your behavior, sell your soul, and still somehow fail to remember the one item you actually needed. Number 16. Calling the theater for showtimes. You used to call the movie theater, listen to a long recorded message, miss the title you wanted, wait through 5 others, and write down a showtime like a battlefield code. It was annoying, sure. It also made going to the movies feel deliberate. Now everything is instant, and somehow nothing feels like an event. Number 17. Renting movies at video stores. The video store was never just about movies. It was about wandering, judging cover art, making a terrible pick with confidence, and maybe grabbing candy you did not need. Every Friday night had a little ritual built into it. Streaming gave us infinite convenience, then quietly murdered the joy of browsing under buzzing fluorescent hope. Number 18. Main Street Christmas. Main Street Christmas used to look like a town trying very hard to feel magical, before budget cuts and Amazon won. Lights across storefronts, choir kids in scarves, fake snow in a display window, one exhausted Santa with nicotine in his soul. It was corny, local, and alive, which is exactly why it's fading. Number 19. Drive-in theaters. The drive-in was not technically the best way to watch a movie. The speaker crackled, the windshield betrayed you, and mosquitoes treated your car like a buffet reservation. But it felt like a night out, not just content consumption in sweatpants. America didn't kill the drive-in because it was bad. It killed it because convenience is spiritually lazy. Number 20. Bowling leagues. Bowling leagues were one of the last functioning adult institutions in America built entirely on rented shoes, cheap beer, and people showing up every week whether life felt meaningful or not. It was never glamorous. That was the beauty. It gave regular people somewhere to go, something to do, and someone to mildly resent in Lane 7. Number 21. Family-owned diners. Family-owned diners used to be where a town stored its gossip, grief, and cholesterol. The coffee was aggressive, the booth squeaked, and the waitress called everyone hun whether they deserved it or not. Now, a lot of them have been replaced by chain restaurants with QR codes, dead eyes, and the emotional warmth of airport carpeting. Number 22. Soda fountains. The old soda fountain was America's way of pretending sugar counted as civic infrastructure. Teenagers flirted, old men argued politics, and somebody always ordered something involving cherries and bad judgment. Now the soda fountain is mostly extinct, replaced by self-serve machines and drinks so large they feel less refreshing than mildly threatening. Number 23. Downtown department stores at Christmas. Downtown department stores used to treat Christmas like a competitive sport. Window displays sparkled, toy floors buzzed, and half the town showed up dressed like they were about to meet royalty. Now that magic has mostly been replaced by warehouse shipping updates and a cart icon silently judging your spending habits at 1:12 a.m. Number 24. Independent hardware stores. The old hardware store wasn't just a place to buy nails. It was where a man in suspenders told you exactly which screw you needed, then judged your project before you even reached the register. Now it's aisles of fluorescent confusion, and employees hiding from eye contact like you asked them to explain the moon. Number 25. Old school barbershops. A real barbershop used to be part haircut, part town council, part unlicensed therapy session. The floor was full of hair, the jokes were questionable, and somebody was always talking baseball like it affected crop yields. Now half the experience is booking through an app, and pretending the minimalist decor isn't emotionally sterile. Number 26. Family drugstores with lunch counters. The old neighborhood pharmacy used to fill your prescription, hand you a milkshake, and somehow know your aunt by name. It made no business sense, which is probably why it felt human. Now pharmacies mostly feel like fluorescent holding cells, where you wait politely while capitalism looks for your insurance information. Number 27. Window shopping on Main Street. Window shopping used to be an actual event. People walked slowly, looked at displays, waved at neighbors, and pretended they weren't judging the mannequin choices at the dress shop. Now, browsing happens on a phone while sitting in sweatpants under the glow of targeted ads that already know you're weak around boots. Number 28. One-screen movie theaters. The one-screen theater was never about luxury. The seats were lumpy, the popcorn was suspiciously loud, and if the projector hiccuped, the whole town knew it. But it felt like an event. Now movies appear instantly at home, which is convenient if your dream date has always been your couch and mild isolation. Number 29. Neon motel signs. Old roadside motels used to glow like tiny promises in the dark. Vacancy signs buzzed, palm trees blinked, and every place looked like either adventure or a regrettable crime documentary. Now the highway is lined with interchangeable hotel boxes that feel like they were designed by a committee allergic to personality and joy. Number 30. Local toy stores. A real toy store used to feel like a child-sized religious experience. Trains moved in circles, shelves leaned dangerously, and some employee named Carol knew exactly where the weird dinosaur bin was. Now toys mostly arrive in brown cardboard silence after 2 clicks, which is efficient and somehow spiritually much worse. Number 31. Riding bikes until the streetlights came on. That used to be the universal American curfew. No phone tracking, no group text, no live location updates. Just a bike, some bad ideas, and the understanding that when the streetlights came on, childhood was over for the day. Now kids get scheduled playdates and battery percentages instead of accidental freedom. Number 32. Paper routes. The paper route used to be one of America's favorite ways to tell children, "Congratulations, you live in capitalism now." Kids woke up early, learned responsibility, and got chased by at least one dog named Duke. Now newspapers barely survive, and the idea of a 12-year-old doing dawn logistics sounds like a federal investigation. Number 33. Trick-or-treating without tactical supervision. Halloween used to involve kids roaming neighborhoods for hours with weak flashlights, bad costumes, and absolutely no GPS oversight. Parents just trusted the vibes and hoped for the best. Now the whole thing feels like a military operation, with trunk-or-treat alternatives, allergy charts, and enough supervision to make candy feel bureaucratic. Number 34. Saturday morning cartoons. Saturday morning cartoons used to be a sacred ritual. You woke up early, sat too close to the TV, and consumed joy, sugar cereal, and toy commercials disguised as plot. Now children can stream anything, anytime, which sounds better until you realize abundance has all the ceremony of opening the fridge 19 times. Number 35. Lemonade stands. The lemonade stand was the original American startup. No permits, no branding consultant, just a folding table, watery lemonade, and a child pricing confidence at 50 cents a cup. Now it occasionally gets treated like an unlicensed beverage cartel. Nothing says modern progress like regulating sticky optimism under the age of 10. Number 36. Summer carnivals. Small-town summer carnivals were held together by rust, prayer, and men who looked one loose bolt away from a personal crisis. The rides felt unsafe, the prizes felt rigged, and the whole thing smelled like fried dough and legal ambiguity. It was glorious. Today, a lot of that chaos has been sanitized into something safer and much duller. Number 37. Town pool culture. The town pool used to be where every child learned 3 important American values. Sunscreen is optional until regret, snack bars have power, and somebody's whistle controls your destiny. It wasn't fancy, but it was a whole social ecosystem. Now, a lot of communities have fewer pools and more screens pretending to be summer. Number 38. Passing notes in class. Passing notes was primitive, elegant, and dangerous. A folded square of paper could contain gossip, romance, betrayal, or the phrase, "Look at Kevin's haircut," written with full criminal intent. Now kids just text, which is faster, but lacks the beautiful physical risk of watching your social future travel row by row toward disaster. Number 39. Roller rink birthday parties. The roller rink birthday party was America's way of combining cake, disco lights, humiliation, and shin injuries into one glowing childhood package. Somebody always fell into a wall, somebody cried, and one brave parent tried skating like dignity wasn't already gone. Now the tradition fades, while children celebrate birthdays by staring at separate screens in the same room. Number 40. Mall arcade birthdays. The mall arcade birthday party used to feel like peak civilization. Tokens, flashing lights, bad pizza, one kid hogging the racing game, and a plastic cup full of warm soda. It was loud, sticky, and perfect. Now the mall itself is dying, and with it goes one more place where teenagers once existed in public without needing a hashtag. Number 41. School field days. School field days used to be one of the few times public education openly admitted children are basically raccoons with shoelaces. Tug of war, relay races, sponge tosses, and at least one teacher taking dodgeball too personally. Now everything is more cautious, more scheduled, and somehow less fun. Safety improved, character development took a hit. Number 42. Sleepaway camp letters. Sleepaway camp letters used to be handwritten little masterpieces of homesickness, bug complaints, and lies about having fun now. Parents kept them for years, like evidence from a damp, emotional battlefield. Now kids could just text if camps let them, which is efficient, but it completely kills the art of dramatic exaggeration in blue ink. Number 43. Driveway basketball leagues. Driveway basketball used to turn suburban concrete into Madison Square Garden for children with terrible jump shots and unlimited confidence. The hoop leaned, the rules changed hourly, and somebody's older cousin always played like he was entering the draft. Now, fewer kids just wander outside and invent a league before dinner. Everything needs scheduling now, apparently. Number 44. Pep rallies that actually meant something. School pep rallies used to feel like a whole town briefly agreeing to believe teenagers mattered more than spreadsheets. Marching bands blasted, mascots sweated, and the gym smelled like sneakers and blind optimism. Now a lot of that energy feels thinner, as if school spirit got outsourced to a social media intern with a ring light. Number 45. Family shoe stores. The family shoe store used to involve a wall of boxes, a metal foot measurer, and one adult who stared at your toes like they had seen war. It was personal, slightly humiliating, and surprisingly useful. Now most shoes arrive by mail after you guess your size and pray your feet respect the return window. Number 46. County fair livestock judging. Nothing says America quite like children in clean jeans carefully presenting animals that smell like the exact opposite of clean jeans. Livestock judging was weird, sincere, and deeply local. It taught patience, pride, and the unsettling truth that some 12-year-olds know more about hog posture than most adults know about taxes. Number 47. Small-town beauty pageants. Small-town beauty pageants were always one part civic tradition, one part hairspray weather system, and one part mothers living through their daughters, with frightening commitment. They were cheesy, awkward, and very American. Also, somehow, everybody showed up. Even the people who swore they hated them knew exactly who got robbed. Number 48. Homecoming parades. Homecoming parades used to be the annual civic ritual where tractors, cheerleaders, marching bands, and mildly confused convertibles all rolled down Main Street pretending this was a perfectly coherent event. It wasn't coherent. It was community. That's why it worked. It was local people publicly committing to a shared bit, and that matters more than we admit. Number 49. Holiday Craft Bazaars. The Holiday Craft Bazaar was where America went to buy decorative geese wearing scarves, homemade fudge, and wooden signs with aggressively cheerful sayings. Was most of it ugly? Absolutely. But it was our ugly. You bought from actual humans, not a faceless warehouse pretending to be your friend through curated seasonal finds. Number 50. Local TV variety shows. Local TV variety shows used to thrive in that magical corner, where low budgets met unstoppable confidence. A weather guy sang, a church choir appeared, some magician from 2 towns over mangled a deck of cards, and viewers ate it up. Now everything is slicker, faster, and somehow much less lovable. Professionalism can be a real buzzkill. Number 51. Calling the theater for showtimes. You used to call a theater, listen to a recorded voice, miss the showtime you wanted, wait through 6 other titles, then finally write it down like a scholar preserving ancient knowledge. It was annoying, yes. It also made going to the movies feel like a deliberate act instead of a thumb twitch. Number 52. Phone books. The phone book used to sit in the house like a giant block of dusty authority. Need a number? Go earn it. You flipped pages, guessed spellings, and occasionally learned your town had 6 plumbers named Randy. Now every number lives in your phone, which is convenient until your battery dies and suddenly civilization feels fake. Number 53. Handwritten thank you notes. A handwritten thank you note used to be the civilized little performance that said, "I was raised correctly, and my mother is still monitoring this." It took effort, postage, and enough guilt to keep the postal system alive. Now, gratitude often arrives as a thumbs-up emoji, which is efficient if your goal is emotional malnutrition. Number 54. Christmas cards you actually mailed. America used to spend December turning kitchen tables into little card factories of family photos, glitter, bad signatures, and subtle bragging. Then you mailed them to relatives who displayed them like temporary wallpaper. Now, a lot of that got replaced by one Instagram post and a caption pretending digital convenience carries the same warmth. It does not. Number 55. Paper maps in the glove box. The paper road map used to make every road trip feel like a mission, mostly because one wrong fold could end the whole family's mood. Dad pretended he understood it, Mom held it upside down at least once, and children learned new curse words and state abbreviations. GPS is easier. It's also robbed us of heroic directional nonsense. Number 56. Asking a gas station for directions. Getting directions at a gas station used to be an American trust exercise. You'd ask a man chewing sunflower seeds how to reach a lake, fairground, or cousin's trailer, and he'd answer with landmarks like, "Turn left at the old oak tree." It was inaccurate, human, and weirdly intimate. Apps killed that entire genre of folklore. Number 57. Video rental stores. The video store was never just about movies. It was about wandering aisles, judging cover art, pretending to consider documentaries, and ultimately leaving with a thriller, a comedy, and something your dad called good enough. Streaming gave us infinite choice but took away the ritual, the surprise, and the smell of old carpet and plastic boxes. Number 58. Library browsing without a plan. There was a time when you just went to the library and wandered. No app, no search bar, no metadata spiral. You drifted into a shelf, found something weird, and left with a book about sharks, Lincoln, or mushroom crimes. Browsing used to include accident. Now everything wants to optimize you out of discovery. Number 59. Radio call-in contests. Calling a radio station to win concert tickets used to require timing, luck, and the ability to redial like your entire worth depended on being caller 9. The reward was usually mediocre, but the adrenaline was real. Now contests live online, where winning feels less like destiny and more like marketing automation wearing sunglasses. Number 60. Recipe boxes and binder cookbooks. America used to store recipes in shoeboxes, stained index cards, and church cookbooks thick with casserole propaganda. Every family had one dessert recipe written in suspicious cursive by someone's dead aunt. Now recipes live on phones between notifications and battery warnings. More accessible, sure. Less sacred? Absolutely. Number 61. Sunday newspapers. The Sunday paper used to hit the driveway like a weekly brick of civilization. Coupons, comics, sports, local scandals, and one furniture ad the size of Nebraska. Now the news arrives in angry little screen fragments. Faster, yes. Better? Only if your hobby is digital whiplash. Number 62. Postcards from road trips. Road trips used to end with a postcard saying, "Weather nice, ate pie, wish you were here." It was cheap, unnecessary, and weirdly perfect. Now people dump 47 vacation photos online and somehow communicate less. A postcard at least admitted somebody paused long enough to think of you. Number 63. Cash envelope budgeting. Cash envelope budgeting made households feel like tiny casinos run by practical women with zero tolerance for nonsense. Groceries had an envelope. Gas had an envelope. Fun money had a suspiciously thin envelope. Now spending is invisible, frictionless, and excellent at ruining your month without ever making a sound. Number 64. Family reunion t-shirts. Nothing said bloodline with weak graphic design standards like matching reunion shirts in radioactive colors. The names were misspelled, the slogan was awful, and everybody wore them anyway. They were ugly, yes. They also proved that somebody cared enough to organize chaos in cotton form. Number 65. Lawn chairs for parades. Claiming parade space with lawn chairs used to be low-level American warfare. People marked curb territory like suburban emperors, then sat for hours waiting on tractors, candy, and a marching band playing slightly behind the beat. It wasn't efficient. That was part of the pageantry. Number 66. Mall Santa photos. Mall Santa photos were never about quality. They were about documenting one child crying, one child blinking, and one exhausted parent pretending this counted as holiday magic. Now everything is curated and polished, which is nice, unless you enjoy memories with actual evidence of human collapse. Number 67. Potluck casseroles and Pyrex. A Pyrex casserole dish used to mean somebody was coming over with sympathy, gossip, or both. Potlucks ran on cheese, obligation, and recipes written in fading cursive. Was every casserole good? Absolutely not. But every casserole meant somebody showed up, which is more than modern convenience usually offers. Number 68. Turkey trots. The turkey trot was America's annual way of pretending one cold 5K could morally offset what was about to happen to stuffing, pie, and 3 different forms of butter. Half the runners were serious. Half were dressed like chaos. It was pointless, public, and therefore deeply necessary. Number 69. Tailgates that became family reunions. Tailgating used to mean turning a parking lot into a temporary republic of folding chairs, coolers, cousins, and meat smoke. Football was technically involved, but mostly it was an excuse to gather badly and loudly. Now, too much of life is efficient, private, and suspiciously deodorized. Number 70. Church fans and folding chairs. Summer church used to involve cardboard fans, folding chairs, sweating through your shirt, and pretending discomfort was part of holiness. It wasn't glamorous, but it was communal. Everybody suffered together, which oddly helped. Modern life solved the sweat and accidentally eliminated some of the shared humanity too. Number 71. High school yearbook signing. Yearbook signing was the annual ritual of teenagers promising lifelong friendship they absolutely would not maintain. Never Change got written to people who'd vanish by August. Still, it mattered. It was awkward, sentimental, and physical. A yearbook can embarrass you forever in ways a disappearing message never could. Number 72. Fireworks from the high school parking lot. 4th of July used to mean sitting in the high school parking lot with a warm soda, a folding chair, and confidence that municipal fireworks counted as a complete evening. It wasn't luxury. It was enough. America keeps replacing enough with optimized, and somehow joy keeps shrinking anyway. Number 73. Holiday calls on the landline. Holiday calls on the family landline were pure chaos. One receiver, 12 relatives, everybody shouting, Tell her we said hi from another room. It was clumsy and repetitive and real. Now family sentiment gets compressed into texts, emojis, and the emotional nutritional value of packing peanuts. Number 74. Bowling leagues. Bowling leagues were one of the last adult traditions built on rented shoes, cheap beer, mild athleticism, and seeing the same people every week whether you liked it or not. That mattered. Community often starts as obligation before it becomes affection. Apps have not figured that out. Number 75. Drive-in theaters. Drive-ins were buggy, crackly, and technically terrible, which is exactly why they felt like an event. You sat under the sky, listened through a sad little speaker, and watched a movie like it actually required effort. Streaming is easier. It just has all the romance of refrigerated leftovers. Number 76. Handmade storefront signs. A hand-painted storefront sign told you something important. A real person once cared how this place looked. Maybe too much, maybe badly. But still, now every third business looks branded by the same nervous design committee that fears color, humor, and anything resembling local personality. Number 77. Community bulletin boards. The community bulletin board used to be Craigslist before Craig, Facebook before your aunt found politics, and local life before algorithms learned to monetize loneliness. Lost dogs, piano lessons, odd jobs, church suppers, canoe for sale. Messy, useful, gloriously unoptimized. A corkboard never harvested your data. Number 78. Regional department store loyalty. People used to be loyal to regional department stores like they were tiny retail kingdoms. That's where you bought school clothes, Christmas gifts, and your first humiliating formal wear. Then chains flattened the map. Now every store looks like every airport had a baby with every website. Number 79. Local roadside attractions. A giant peach, a fiberglass cowboy, a weird museum, a dinosaur no one could explain. Roadside attractions used to prove towns had specific local forms of embarrassment. That's identity. Now too many highway exits offer the same 6 logos and the emotional tone of laminated chicken tenders. Number 80. Actual mall culture. The mall was not just shopping, it was teen diplomacy, food court politics, first dates, arcade noise, and walking in circles because staying home felt worse. We killed that and replaced it with online carts and targeted ads. Then we acted shocked when everybody got lonelier. Number 81. Teen hangouts not owned by algorithms. Teenagers used to gather in parking lots, diners, arcades, football fields, porches, and random nowhere spots with terrible lighting. None of it was optimized, monetized, or tracked. That made it chaotic, but alive. Now social life gets filtered through platforms that call surveillance connection. Number 82. Local TV variety shows. Local TV variety shows were held together by extension cords, weather guys, church choirs, and dangerous amounts of confidence. Production values were low, but personality was high. Today, everything is smoother and more professional, which is a polite way of saying much less charming and much less weird. Number 83. Family restaurants with one weird signature dish. Every town used to have one place famous for a dish outsiders would never fully understand. A slaw burger, a chili dog, a pie with 3 suspicious layers. It made no sense nationally. That was the point. Chains don't allow that kind of local culinary delusion anymore. Number 84. Christmas shopping downtown. Downtown Christmas shopping meant cold air, bad parking, lit windows, overwrapped boxes, and local stores trying their absolute best. It was inconvenient, festive, and public. Now much of holiday shopping happens in silent panic on a phone, while porch theft replaces caroling as the seasonal subplot. Number 85. Community Easter egg hunts. The local Easter egg hunt was adorable for exactly 11 seconds. Then it turned into tiny children in pastel clothes, stampeding for plastic treasure while one exhausted volunteer in a rabbit suit questioned every life decision since 1998. It was chaos, yes. Good chaos. The endangered kind. Number 86. Homecoming as a town event. Homecoming used to belong to the whole town, not just the school. The parade rolled, the band blasted, alumni came back louder and balder, and everybody pretended Friday night football was geopolitically important. It was silly, collective, and local, which is why it still mattered. Number 87. Local call-in radio culture. Call-in radio gave regular people a hotline to song requests, traffic gossip, county fair tickets, and occasional public embarrassment. It was social media before the narcissism got industrialized. The DJ knew the town knew the DJ, and everybody got to sound ridiculous, live on air. Number 88. Livestock auctions. There are few more American sights than a teenager in boots presenting a pig, like a Wall Street analyst presenting quarterly earnings. Livestock auctions were weird, rural, sincere, and full of real stakes. That kind of local ritual survives, but not nearly as naturally as it once did. Number 89. Holiday craft fairs and cafeterias. Holiday craft fairs smelled like cinnamon, glue guns, and determination. Tables sagged under knitted potholders, wooden snowmen, and decorative nonsense nobody needed but somebody made with love and alarming confidence. Online shopping is easier. It just lacks the charm of buying a candle from Linda's folding table empire. Number 90. Town-specific weirdness. Some towns had pie queens, some had fish fries, some had a parade rule no outsider could explain. That weird little local texture used to be everywhere. Now, too many places are becoming slight variations of the same chains, same parking lots, same emotional beige. Efficiency is a terrible artist. Number 91. Main Street Christmas. Main Street Christmas was America trying very hard to manufacture wonder out of string lights, paper snowflakes, choir children, and a budget that screamed best effort. It was corny, homemade, and alive. Now the season often feels like digital commerce wearing a Santa hat and asking for card details. Number 92. Front porch culture. The front porch was social software disguised as architecture. It let people drift into conversation without scheduling, branding, or pretending they were networking. You sat, waved, and wasted time on purpose. Modern life hates unproductive contact, which may explain why it keeps making people lonelier on purpose too. Number 93. Local newspapers. Local newspapers were boring in the exact way democracy needs. They told you who died, who won, who got arrested, what road was closing, and why the school board was suddenly on fire. Now, local news collapses and rumor fills the vacuum, wearing Facebook glasses. Number 94. Face-to-face neighbor culture. A lot of old American tradition really comes down to one thing: unplanned human contact. Porch talks, driveway chats, over-the-fence gossip, diner run-ins, church suppers, parade nods. We streamlined all that into apps, deliveries, and digital updates. The convenience is real. So is the emptiness. Number 95. County fairs as ritual, not content. County fairs used to be livestock, rides, fried food, bad bands, pageants, and annual community chaos. Now, too often, they're treated like nostalgic backdrops for photos and snacks. The fair still exists, but the old sense that everybody was there because that's what the year demanded, that's fading. Number 96. Real local identity. Places used to feel more distinct. They had their own rituals, ugly mascots, odd rules, stubborn foods, and local traditions outsiders wouldn't fully understand. That's identity. Modern America keeps flattening those details into one giant national strip mall with Wi-Fi and zero accent marks. Number 97. One-screen Friday nights. A one-screen theater didn't just show a movie, it staged a town event. Same room, same laughs, same sticky floor, same crowd afterward under a buzzing lobby light. Shared attention used to happen more easily. Now even watching the same thing together feels like coordinating a moon landing. Number 98. Slow, corny public life. A lot of disappearing traditions were slow, corny, and mildly ridiculous. Pie contests, potlucks, floats, marching bands, fans in church. None of it was efficient. That was part of the magic. Shared inconvenience is underrated. It gives people stories instead of just receipts and notifications. Number 99. The ritual of showing up. Underneath all these traditions is one bigger one: showing up. Not liking, scrolling, reacting, or lurking. showing up. To the game, the parade, the diner, the fair, the church supper, the porch. Modern life keeps offering substitutes. Most of them are technically easier and spiritually worse. Number 100. Traditions that were a little dumb. Many of these traditions were objectively a little dumb. That's exactly why they worked. A pie contest is dumb. A fish fry is dumb. A bad float is dumb. A bowling league is dumb. Shared harmless nonsense is one of civilization's better inventions, and we're acting way too sophisticated to keep it. Number 101. The things that made America feel like a place. That's the bigger loss here. Not just porches, maps, diners, fairs, and newspapers, but the whole patchwork of habits that made America feel lived in instead of processed. A lot of these traditions were awkward, corny, local, and human, which is probably why they mattered so much. Number 102. The obituary page. The local obituary page used to quietly hold a town together. It told people who was gone, who needed casseroles, and which family now deserved a front door visit instead of just a comment online. It was sad, useful, and communal. Now loss is often announced like content. Number 103. Breakfast counters. A real breakfast counter was a low-budget parliament for retirees, truck guys, bored waitresses, and men with opinions about eggs that sounded legally binding. Coffee refilled itself by magic, gossip moved faster than traffic, and everyone had a role. App-based breakfast has many advantages. A soul is not one. Number 104. Church potluck culture. The church potluck deserves extra respect because it solved 3 problems at once: hunger, loneliness, and the need to judge someone's casserole in silence. It wasn't stylish, it wasn't healthy, it was deeply American. Shared food and folding chairs used to do more social work than half the internet. Number 105. Kids existing outside. There was once a whole American tradition of kids simply being outside, with no adult PowerPoint explaining it. They rode bikes, drank from hoses, invented games, lost arguments badly, and came home when it got dark. We made childhood safer, cleaner, and a lot more supervised. Also, flatter. Number 106. Main Street Christmas shopping. This wasn't just commerce, it was ritual. Cold sidewalks, lit windows, badly parked cars, boxes under arms, one choir somewhere nearby, and local stores begging politely for one more season. Online shopping won the war. It just replaced public festivity with private transactions and shipping dread. Number 107. County fairs at night. At night, the county fair used to feel like America condensed into one overheated frame. Livestock smell, ride lights, fried sugar, teenage flirting, and a man explaining watermelon judging too seriously. It was weird, loud, and absolutely alive. Modern life is cleaner. It rarely feels this inhabited. Number 108. Front porches at dusk. If one image captures the disappearing American texture, it might be this. Dusk. Porch light on. Somebody rocking in a chair. People waving from the sidewalk. No one monetizing anything. Just time being spent in public. We replaced that with private comfort and somehow got lonelier in better furniture. Number 109. Knowing your neighbors. You used to know neighbors through repetition, not effort. Same stores, same porches, same games, same schools, same streets. Now many people know each other's package habits better than their names. We didn't just lose niceness, we lost accidental familiarity, which might be more important. Number 110. Community as a habit. That may be the real tradition disappearing forever. Not pie contests, not drive-ins, not Christmas windows, but community as a normal habit instead of a scheduled project. America keeps replacing repeated local contact with efficient private alternatives, then wondering why so many people feel culturally homesick while still at home. Number 111. Showing up in person. At the bottom of all this is the simplest tradition of all, showing up in person. To the diner, the fair, the parade, the porch, the church dinner, the bowling alley, the town square. A lot of old traditions were cheesy, inconvenient, and inefficient. That was the point. They made people share a place. And that may be the thing America misses most. A lot of old American traditions were corny, inefficient, inconvenient, and a little ridiculous. That was part of the point. They forced people into the same space and gave life texture. So which disappearing tradition feels like the biggest loss to you? Drop it in the comments. And stick around, because if America keeps replacing real life with convenience, we're going to have a lot more funerals for perfectly good traditions.